Yo, apprentices, acolytes, and fellow Dark Lords of the Sith coming into the Dark Temple, visited by Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker, and Kyle Katarn, and so many of the Force sensitives like yourself. I'm Lord Dagovere, and it's so good to see you guys. How y'all doing today? We got Trent in the chat, Skywalker Academy, Logan, so good to see you. Yo, we got Ahsoka V1 over there on TikTok. Thank you so much for coming in. Can I get for the first time today? Ready up. Let's freaking go. How you guys doing? How you guys doing today? So good to see you guys. Logan, I'm so glad to see you in the chat. I was worried about you last week. Oh my goodness gracious, Leon has entered. Let's go. Yo, can we get for the first time today? Leon, ready up inside the chat. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, guys. Got a lot of stuff. Discord is in every bio and video description I have, so check that if you want. It's YouTube, no Twitch, just YouTube. Same thing, Lord Dagovere anywhere. If you type in Lord Dagovere, you can find anywhere. Thank you so much, fam. Appreciate you. How you guys doing today? Let's freaking go. We got a lot to talk about, guys. There's a lot, especially with Bob Iger moving on and a brand new CEO/CFO/COO of Disney. I think that's going to be really interesting, guys. If you guys heard in the Starlight podcast that I was talking about with Jedi Connor and Daddy Sheev, there's a lot of moving parts. It's very interesting, man. 2026 may be one of the most important years for Star Wars, man. Skywalker says, I'm doing good other than a small nosebleed. Oh, man. I'm so sorry, dude. I hope you get that handled, dude. Dude, I haven't had a nosebleed in a while, man. I think when I was younger, I think I used to get them when I used to do track, and it was cold. Sometimes playing baseball and football, but outside of that, not too much. But yeah, man, lots to talk today. I want to just wait a little bit here, maybe like 5, 6, a couple more minutes before everybody gets in. But how you doing, Logan? How's TikTok, fam? How's everything? Trent, how you been? So good to see you. Always think about all the Marvel stuff. Are you excited for Doomsday, man? I know that you're a big Marvel guy. Are you excited? I'm pretty excited. I'm getting my Doctor Doom shirt. I got my X-Men whatever in my closet. Yo, Jeff, it's so good to see you. Jeff, let's go. Everybody, welcome Jeff with a ready up inside the chat. Let's freaking go. Yeah, fam. I was so shocked they actually linked Kamir with Kylo Ren. You know, dude, man. I'm not entirely shocked because, you know, we always talk about this, guys. We always talk about how I feel about certain things. I do feel like Leslie had a really good idea for the Star Wars lore because she loves the RPG books. He plays Knights of the Old Republic. I always tell you guys, I think that's exactly like what my type of director would be. But I didn't think that writing was there. I didn't think the experience, was there for Leslie. And I probably wouldn't have given her as much control. I would have probably supported her with Jon Favreau and a few other people that knew how to execute at the quality that I think should be the standard for Star Wars. But the ideas were there, man. The ideas were there, and I'm very, very upset at the idea that a lot of potential of that show is just lost in the sauce. It's under the bridge. It is like, I am Tom Hanks, and it is Wilson, and I'm screaming at it, and no matter how much I scream at it, it will never come back, That's exactly how I feel. So yeah, dude, it's really annoying. But I want to get that book, Leon. I'm thinking about getting that book. I genuinely believe I should probably get that book just to see what else is in there. It was kind of obvious. I don't know. I don't think it was obvious. I only felt like the soundtrack really connected the two, and that was it. But we'll see. Jeff has some good news. Jeff, I hope you have some amazing news, man. Yeah, you're down to tell me if you want to. I'm down. I'm down to give you one clap. The Stormtrooper is moving. Actually, Daniel, joke's on you, actually. It does move. It's an animatronic. It moves because it has a sensor. Which is pretty cool, Yeah, I'm not too worried about a stormtrooper though. but he actually does move. He came with a candy cane and some candy stuff. He's actually pretty sick. It makes so much sense. And I genuinely think that was a great dig, honestly. And I think that they needed to do that. And I really wish that they would have not canceled that show, man. Last Thursday I had a cataract surgery. Okay. You have to excuse me. I do not know what that is. I'm going to have to look it up. Please do not shun me for not understanding. I'm going to look it up. I hope it's not anything bad. Okay. Cataract surgery is common procedure. Eyes. Oh, really? Did you wear glasses? Interesting. Do you wear glasses, or was there just like sensory issues or something? I'm so curious now. Thank you so much, chat, for being so open-minded and not making fun of me for not knowing what that was. Have you seen the video of the stormtroopers missing on purpose? I feel like I've seen so many. I mean, you have to understand, I'm pushing 40, so I used to see like all the troopers back in the day. I don't know if you remember that. I don't know if you've seen that on YouTube. It's like the cops inspiration for like stormtroopers. Oh my gosh, dude, that was actually hilarious, dude. They fixed my vision where I don't need glasses except when reading. That is awesome, Jeff. I'm so hyped for you. The reason why I have glasses is because I played a lot of sports and I live in Florida, so I was doing doubleheaders and stuff 2 days, always in the sun. And I thought I needed glasses because I started looking at screens and working, but when I got my eyes tested, the lady was telling me, like, yeah, no, you have so much sun damage. And I was like, oh, that makes sense, because I played baseball and I never wore sunglasses until the very end of my career. So that's good, guys. Take care of yourself. Protect yourself. Bugsy inside the chat. Grand Admiral Gunner Bugsy in the chat. Yo, can we all at Bugsy and say Grand Admiral Gunner and say ready up inside the chat? Let's freaking go. Where'd you get the hoodie? Disney Springs, man. It is actually amazing. I do not know if they still have it there. I would check Disney Shop, but it's got your boy Darth Vader all over it. Look at this shit. It's amazing. It's so good. It's actually amazing. I love it. It's, I mean, I don't usually get the drip, but I do got that shit on today, you know? Yeah, I did. It's sick, right, Devin? Yeah, it's sick. Thank you so much for bringing it here, man. I'm so happy about you, dude. But can the Stormtrooper hit his target? Probably not. You know, I don't think it could at all. I mean, he could shop at Target, but I don't even think he would get anything. Been busy with lots of stuff and eager to make time to work on the YouTube stuff. I know, Logan. I haven't really seen you at all, dude. But I hope you're doing good, fam. I only get to bother you in Discord, and that's it. Be Rad in the chat. Yo, everybody, welcome Be Rad inside the chat with a ready up. Let's go. You know, I saw someone say ready up today. I saw someone on Twitter say ready up today. Ain't nobody fucking saying ready up except me. So I don't know if someone saw me say ready up and say it. I don't know. He's in the Star Wars community too, so we'll have to see. I mean, I think it's pretty cool, but I'm worried that maybe it's a little too cool now, and someone may steal it and make it theirs. You know, that's what happened with another Star Wars creator with me and saying acolytes, apprentices, and acolytes. If you do your research, you'll know who. And I was doing that since 2018. You got a copyright ready up yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, dude. I don't know, because I started saying apprentices and acolytes a while back, and ready up has been my thing for a while. Unlock the knowledge, all that nonsense, all that bullshit. But, but I'm not, I don't have like 100,000 people, subscribed. I'm just a guy, someone may see that and be like, oh yeah, I'll take that. It is what it is. Logan says, Legends was when Stormtroopers were actually elite. Canon making them a joke really irks me. I don't know. I mean, like, honestly, Logan, dude, the original trilogy is right there, fam. I'm sorry, but no matter how much Legends continuity there is in the 40-plus years of Star Wars Expanded Universe, that A New Hope is just ridiculous. I mean, you have them on Tatooine where they're looking for Obi-Wan Kenobi, and they're looking for Obi-Wan Kenobi. The Kabaz is telling them where they are, and all I think about is when the door is locked and the stormtrooper's like, this one's locked, go to the next one. I was like, you're a stormtrooper, bro. Just open the door. Just blast it open. You work for the Empire. And then, of course, the bonk on the head in the Death Star. So you can't really take them that seriously. I will say the 1990 Imperial Handbook, is very, very awesome because it builds into the mystery of the stormtrooper program and how mysterious it is to like the normal person, and I think that's really cool. I do miss that mystiqueness of like who the stormtroopers are and what they're doing, and I like that a lot. Actually, I think that's something that I miss a lot. That's pretty sick, dude. Yo, David Torres coming in. So good to see you. I'm so glad you're back, David Torres coming in. Can we welcome David Torres with Already Up? Is that a stormtrooper behind you? No, it's not wearable. It is an animatronic. I do have other cosplays though. Hey man, you gotta steal from the best. Thank you, B-Rad. Yeah, what's it say? It's impersonation is the best form of flattery. All right, so let's get into the first couple of things here. So breaking, Josh D'Amaro, hopefully I said that right, named CEO Disney effective March 18th. Bob Iger is going to be slipping away, and this guy, Josh, is going to have another person that's going to be kind of like shadowing him and helping him out with COO, I think, as well. Very interesting, guys. How do you guys feel about this? I told you on the Starlight podcast and also a couple weeks ago that I felt like Kathleen Kennedy stepping away, and Dave Filoni and Lin Win stepping up and being a part of Lucasfilm. I told you guys that this wasn't going to be the last thing. There was also going to be Bob Iger was going to be moving, because I felt like there were so many projects coming out this year, not just TVs, but also movies as well. And I think it makes sense for them to move everybody away publicly to make it seem like this new era of projects is going to be fantastic. I think there's going to be a lot of good stuff, guys. Like, I genuinely believe this slate of Star Wars is going to be pretty solid. I think the only ones that you really have to worry about is Ahsoka and the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. And I know those are the most important ones, but if those two are anywhere near as good as they should be, well, guess what? Now you don't have Kathleen Kennedy to blame. You have Dave Filoni sitting there and new staff, essentially. It's like a soft reset and a rebuild for Disney and Star Wars right now, with Bob Iger, who, in my opinion, has made some very questionable decisions about certain things that we've all criticized on this channel enough. So, yeah, I don't know. Two biggest targets, in my opinion, for a lot of people that hate Star Wars right now. Very interesting if you can have a very solid year. Going off of Mando and Grogu and right into Ahsoka. I don't know, guys. I don't know. We might be in for something solid this year. Who knows? I don't know. Or everything could just be like not good, and then no matter what I say, people are going to hate on it, whatever. So I think this is good. I think this is solid. Yo, Starlight Pod, Jedi Connor, thank you so much, my boy, coming in with both accounts. Dude, that's a sick hoodie. Where'd you get it? Oh my God, you guys are awesome. I got it from Disney Springs. I live in Orlando, so it's easy for me to just walk over there. I'm not sure if it's still there, but anytime I see like drip like this, I'm always getting it, bro. I got it, dude. Got to get it. Isn't this the second time Iger left? Yes, this is the second time, but I'm pretty sure he's retiring at the end of 2026. I think a lot of these people are not completely going away. I think they're going to shadow everybody until all of their projects are finished, and then they can finally just move on. And I think it's time. I think it's been time for Bob Iger. It's been time for I feel like Kathleen Kennedy still, honestly, should be a part of Lucasfilm. This is just my opinion, because I've already told you guys about how nervous I am about Dave Filoni trying to convince other directors to come over here and write Star Wars. I think Kathleen Kennedy is what made Lucasfilm and Star Wars attractive because of her resume. And I know that you guys hate her. But I genuinely feel like it's a lot easier with someone like her to convince Disney to make something like Andor happen. And now you don't have her anymore. And Tony Gilroy was talking about how basically Kathleen Kennedy and Grogu are the reasons why Andor was able to have so much money in production. So I don't know what's going to happen, guys. I don't know. But I hope these projects are good. I genuinely think they are going to be. So we'll see. All my homies hate Bob Iger. I don't have anything positive to say, to be honest. Especially after I heard about the Ben Solo stuff. Not hyped. Not excited. Do you collect Lego? Yeah, I got some right on the screen over there. Right on the screen. I'm getting it. I haven't really bought anything this year though. I'm not too hyped about some of the stuff that's coming out. Skywalker Academy says her resume is impressive regardless for how I feel about her. Exactly. There's nothing that I mean, like, I don't appreciate a lot of the sequel trilogy, but there's still things that I really like. Andor is amazing. The Mandalorian is amazing. Star Wars Visions is amazing. You know, Jedi Fallen Order, amazing. You know, Vader comics, a lot of the continuity, a lot of the comics and books and new continuity is good. Jedi Scars, Battle Scars, though, I don't know what the hell they were thinking. I have nothing positive to say about that book. True, but even in the films, they say the stormtroopers have good aim, and the only yes, that is correct. And the only inexcusable movement for is Cloud City, unless Vader wanted to chase them off without taking the rebels out. Yeah, I don't disagree. I think Andor makes them very scary. I think they're more menacing and terrifying in Andor, of all things. Honestly, they are very scary the way they operate. You know, so I really appreciated that. I also think that stormtroopers in general, or like the cannon fodder version of whatever Star Wars era that we're going to be in next time, that the base, you know, the general base form of these characters, I'm using Dragon Ball Z language, whether it be stormtroopers, I think that they need to be solid, because it helps when like someone like Luke Skywalker comes in and then you start to see like this guy is just throwing them across the room because he's on another level. I love the idea of comparison in terms of like power and showing you how far a character has come in terms of power. I think that's important for the reader or the watcher. I think that's what makes good villains and good heroes, is to see that growth and to see that power. Have you tried the Kyber mod on Battlefront? I have not. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like Kyber crystals and stuff in Battlefront? I mean, like, I didn't really do a lot of modding. I played this one game all the time. It was called Movie Battles. I don't know if anybody's played that game. I used to play Movie Battles all the freaking time, man. I love it. I love Movie Battles. I think Movie Battles is one of the best Star Wars games, and it's not even an official Star Wars games. Yo, Footsie's coming inside the chat. So good to see you. Thank you so much, Footsies. Everybody, welcome Footsies with a ready up. I played both Battlefronts, by the way. Let's go. Let's go, Isaac. What Disney Star Wars movie are you looking forward to? Well, I mean, I'm excited for I'm excited for Mando and Grogu, but my hype for Starfighter is way more than I think anything on, like, Ahsoka season 2. I'm really excited for. Mole, I'm very excited for, but like Starfighter, I just feel like that movie is going to be a Tron legacy. And I think Tron Legacy is like one of the best movies ever made. Soundtrack wise, cinematography, look, aesthetic, I don't know, just everything about that. And a lot of the people that worked on Tron Legacy are also working on Starfighter. I think it's going to be amazing, man. I cannot wait. KOTOR, let's go. Hell yeah. You guys ready for Fate of the Jedi, by the way? I'm so excited. Kyber is a launcher and a way to assist with modding Battlefront 2, new characters, maps, and guns. It's absolutely insane. That's pretty cool. Have you guys seen the Starfighter or the Starfield mod for Star Wars? I'm so curious about getting it. Like, I have Starfield, but I played like 20 minutes of it and I couldn't get into it. I just felt like it was not the game that I thought it was going to be. But that mod looks amazing. That mod looks so good. Thank you so much, Just. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the follow, fam. I like the Stormtrooper in the back. Thank you, fam. The Stormtrooper likes you. Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor 2. Yeah, but Fate of the Jedi is what I'm really excited about. And also we got Zero Company in the Racer game coming out, man. Okay. Next thing up. So we already talked about Bob Iger and stuff. I think you guys have said, remember, you guys can ask questions. You guys know this. You guys know this, okay? Let's get into the next thing, okay? Here we go. I thought this was really interesting. Khmer the Stranger versus Asajj Ventress. So exactly the way it is, guys. Who do you think is taking this in a death battle and or fight? Do you think it's Asajj Ventress versus the Stranger from the Acolyte? Who do you think is walking away from this? In my opinion, in my very humble online Star Wars opinion, Ventress is not a pushover, guys. Ventress is not a pushover in any way, shape, or form. Ventress is way more skilled, says Jedi Connor. Okay, now. All right. So, listen, guys. You guys know I don't like the Acolyte, but I love components of the Acolyte, and I think Smilo Ren is one of the best parts. I think the Stranger takes it. I do, but I think the Stranger is barely surviving. Okay, because the Stranger he was beating the shit out of those Jedi. Okay, and and I'm not talking about like beating them. I'm talking about he killed them, guys. He massacred those Jedi. Like, no remorse, nothing. Okay? The thing about Ventress here is that Ventress is consistently going toe-to-toe with Anakin no, sorry. That is untrue. Consistently going with Obi-Wan Kenobi and consistently fighting and engaging with Anakin Skywalker, okay? That has way more weight than anything the Stranger has done. Anything the Stranger has done. So I think the Stranger is going into this thinking that he's going to walk all over Asajj Ventress, and the Stranger is going to have fucking problems, man, fighting Asajj Ventress. I do think that in terms of physicality, Asajj Ventress struggles with oppressive physical fighting, especially when you see in the Coruscant underworld where Anakin Skywalker is stalking Asajj Ventress because he thinks that Asajj Ventress framed Ahsoka. Ventress can't handle that, and of course that's Anakin like getting really pissed off. But I genuinely think that is kind of her flaw, even with how skilled she is, being a Night Sister and being a former Jedi, being an eventual Night Sister, being all of these things. I think that she is very skilled, but I think ultimately her potential in the Force may not be as high as the Stranger's. And I just think that the Stranger is winning that fight at the end because of his brutality and because of his strength and because of his ferocity. I don't think it's an easy fight. If you can convince me Asajj Ventress wins, but I genuinely think this fight is closer to 50-50 than it is like someone completely winning, like overwhelmingly. I think Asajj Ventress is slept on as a character, honestly. Xanatos Existing explains so much about Qui-Gon's behavior towards Obi-Wan and the Phantom Menace. I love that, dude. Exar Kun would dog walk Ahsoka. Of course Exar Kun would dog walk Ahsoka. Exar Kun is like one of the most powerful Sith Lords of all time. Exar Kun almost kills Luke Skywalker, and he's like I genuinely believe like Exar Kun is like top 3 Sith Lord. And he's not 2 or 1, but when he is, Exar Kun is a dog, bro. Of course he's gonna do that to Ahsoka. Exar is basically the Anakin of his time. No, he's more powerful than Anakin. It's so funny. I actually have a video coming out about Anakin and Exar Kun. I think it's gonna be out in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So watch that. There's a lot of good stuff about that. Jeff says Anakin and Obi-Wan consistently beat Ventress, though, especially in the Clone Wars. Yes, they do beat her, but if I'm going against Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, I'm going against Tom Brady and the New England Patriots every day. That loss is not an insult, guys. That's not bad. If I'm consistently fighting them, and she's fighting Anakin and Obi-Wan in a 2v1 the entire time, that is not the insult you think it is. She's fighting them, like Asajj Ventress is a bad bitch. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, guys. Yes, Kamir is a dog, and he's a beast too. But I think that you guys don't understand how much her losing to Anakin and Obi-Wan consistently is ruining her reputation, I think, amongst Star Wars fans. She's not to be messed with, bro. If you find Asajj Ventress alone in an alleyway and you think you're gonna throw hands with Asajj Ventress, dude, you are outside of your goddamn mind. I'm not fighting her. I am not fighting Asajj Ventress. Hell no. No, dude. Hell no, man. It's 50-50 in my opinion. Yeah, I don't disagree with that, Bugsy. Genuinely, I don't disagree with that. I think that's more accurate than Smilo Ren winning, because I think they make out. Genuinely, dude. I think they find more in common with each other than them actually killing each other, man. Genuinely, dude. Genuinely. Oh, man. Who would win in a fight? Cal Kestis Prime? We're talking about Jedi Survivor. Oh, that's Luke Skywalker. It's Luke Skywalker any day, bro. No way. Kiss is right. No, I'm telling you, dude. That's exactly how I feel. I just... they have a lot in common. They're both potentially used by their former masters. They're both going on this strand of the Force that is not directly Sith, or light-sightedness. I guarantee you they're fighting, and then they start talking to each other, and then they're like, wait a second, what did you say? I don't know. I just think the Jedi are shit. Yeah, I think the Jedi suck too, and that's it. They're more friends at this fight than anything else, and I don't want this to turn into something it's not. Yeah, man, that's crazy. Yeah, he's absolutely getting bodied by Luke Skywalker. They need to stop sleeping on her, learn from the best duelist, Dooku. Yes, Dooku is also fantastic, but just because she's being taught by the greatest master doesn't mean that she's going to become the greatest master, because she's still losing to a lot of characters, but she is much higher class than a lot of people would give her credit to. I mean, come on, guys. This is the Darth Maul before Darth Maul existed, so we got to put respect on Asajj Ventress names. I mean, Obi-Wan is one of the greatest defensive Jedi, and Anakin is one of the... Yes, exactly, Chris. You get it. No ball. TikTok chat today knows ball. By the way, guys, make sure you subscribe on YouTube, please. We are literally like 100 away from 10K subs. All right, ready up. Let's freaking go. Jedi Connor says, I think Obi-Wan would wipe the floor with the stranger, to be honest. Yes, he is. I'm sorry. Yeah, he is. No way. Okay, so a lot of people don't understand, in my opinion, and could be me glazing. You guys can call me out, all right, because I'm an Anakin Skywalker fan. Anakin loses because he's a fucking dumbass, okay? And that's the main reason. Anakin loses because he's a dumbass. He is not, in my opinion, more powerful than Obi-Wan. He's not weaker than Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is not stronger than him. Obi-Wan is just wiser and is not a fucking idiot. And he's also, yes, he's a master of Surisu. He's one of the greatest, if not the greatest Surisu user the Order has ever produced. Okay? Mace Windu says this himself, and Mace Windu is a dog. And Mace Windu looks at him and says, I'm looking at the master of Surisu. That's it. Put that up in the wall. It's a fucking accolade, okay? So, in that moment, Anakin Skywalker is, in my opinion, I think he's beating the shit out of Kenobi all throughout Mustafar. But even with everything that Anakin is doing, Obi-Wan is still standing tall. Like, he's still standing. That's his song, And then Anakin makes a stupid ass decision and then loses, But yes, Smilo Ren, if he walks up against Obi-Wan Kenobi, Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Smilo Ren is dying. Smilo Ren is getting bodied, guys. I don't think it's close. Genuinely. Because Asajj Ventress is very good. But there are layers to this. Walk with me, guys. I always talk to you about this, especially Revenge of the Sith. We are Old Republic fans here. Revan is my guy. I got a shrine right over here. You see all the Old Republic shit that I got here. But as much as I love the Old Republic, the movie characters are completely underappreciated because they are movies and you cannot truly see how powerful these characters are. Smilo Ren is not lasting very long against Obi-Wan Kenobi, the master of Surisu. You heard it here. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's just how it is, guys. I think it's a fact. I don't even think I could ever be convinced otherwise, to be honest. You know, I adore Revan. I think a lot of people do. 2003 General Grievous or Phantom Menace Darth Maul. Darth Maul Darth Maul is very good. Darth Maul is very good, guys. You want to know why Darth Maul is very good? Because Qui-Gon Jinn is also very good. I have to take... I think it's Darth Maul. Me personally, it's Darth Maul. Which is our next question, actually. Fantastic. Great timing, TikTok. By the way, guys, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. So this is our third thing that we're going over today. How many random Inquisitors would it take to kill General Grievous? TikTok and YouTube chat. How many random Inquisitors would it take to kill General Grievous? General Grievous is beating the shit out of every goddamn Inquisitor there is. Are you telling me the only person that's got a chance is Grand Inquisitor, and it's not gonna be close? General Grievous is running the fucking gauntlet. He's destroying all of them. Every single one. The Inquisitors are scrubs. They are scrubs. The Grand Inquisitor is a former Temple guard who was a nobody. A nobody. A nobody. It's not that he isn't good, guys. It's just there are levels to this, and General Grievous is trained by Count Dooku. This man was running hands, straight hands, that he was collecting lightsabers of every Jedi that he went against. And the average Jedi is more powerful than the average Inquisitor because they are scrubs. They are probably Padawans that couldn't do shit, had to turn themselves, which we saw, which we understand, which we know. General Grievous is running through them and taking their lightsabers as he's destroying them. It's General Grievous every day of the week. Every day of the week. And you know what? I'm telling you right now, General Grievous is beating Grand Inquisitor too. I don't know. I think that's how it is, guys. Genuinely, if Satele Shan was with Mace Windu, Palpatine would get destroyed. That's overkill, honestly. Revenge of the Sith, Palpatine, who has not turned Anakin yet. Yeah, that's not fair. I mean, it's because she's the Yoda of her time, so it's just the same thing with if Yoda is there with Mace, Palpatine's getting smacked. You know, it is what it is. The U.S. military versus the Empire? Buddy, the Empire can destroy planets. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Vader 30 seconds after he got into the suit for the first time versus General... No, I mean, come on, dude. What are you talking about? That's crazy. Vader's still mourning Padme. He's not going to be able to do anything. Can they both lose? No. General Grievous is stepping on Grand Inquisitor's face. He's making all these Inquisitors look silly, guys. You know, that's the thing about Order 66 is like there's so many people online that talk so much shit about, oh my god, another story with a fallen Jedi. How many people? Did it really work? Yes, it worked, guys. All of the important Jedi outside of Yoda and Kenobi are dead. The Jedi that survive are scrubs. They're nobodies. They are trash. They are trash. The Emperor's dogs, the Inquisitors, are just literally cleaning up the scraps. There is no one left. Nobody. Even someone like Cal Kestis and Kanan Jarrus, who is an amazing Jedi, by the way, you know, they are not on the level of anyone in the High Council. Not a ahch-to, not a Mace Windu, not a Yoda, obviously, not a Kenobi. They're trash. We are not talking about Jarek, okay, and Desan. That is different. Those are different power levels. Those are different. That's Legends. It's a completely different realm of power. We're talking about basic bitch-ass Inquisitors, and they are not doing shit, okay? If you are even an inkling have any type of power in the Force, the Inquisitor is having trouble with you. Ahsoka, who's not even in her prime, with no lightsaber, gave the Crow Inquisitor an O2 and a handshake. Do you know what that means? That means that that Ahsoka saw this dude, bodied him without breaking a freaking sweat, and showed him the way home. That's how bad it was. You know, Ahsoka's not, like, Ahsoka in that time, she's strong. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. She's strong, but she's not even in her final form, you know? I would reckon that Cal Kestis, especially as we've seen, he could probably run amok against a lot of these Inquisitors, you know? Not because, I mean, he's also just, like, different because he's got the Glock, bro. It shoots the same every day. But I'm just saying, like, a lot of these Inquisitors, guys, are not as good as you think, you know? Don't yell at me, Dag. I'll cry. It's okay, man. I'm just excited. I love you, Logan. It's okay, dude. Wait, I got a question. Dark Dimension Vader versus whole entire rebellion. Dark Dimension. Okay. Okay. So Vader comics. Well, you got to remember now. Dark Dimension Vader loses to Luke Skywalker. Because that's how Vader is thrown out of that realm. Luke Skywalker throws him out. So that should be your answer. Yeah, Ahsoka destroys the Inquisitors. Yes, absolutely. Luke in his prime or Darth Maul? No, it's Luke. Luke is a god, guys. Especially Legends Luke. Luke is like Superman of Star Wars, guys. You know? Like, Luke is manipulating black holes in Legends continuity. And anyone out there that says, well, you know, it's a fake dark hole, it's a fake black hole. Yes, okay, I understand what you're saying, but a black hole the size of a nickel literally destroys our entire solar system. What are we talking about? You know? What are we talking about, guys? Leon says, I think the Last Order 66 Survivor story should be Mace or him with a group of survivors. Star Wars theory pitch is perfect. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. No. It's not perfect, guys. You know, and listen, man, I don't talk about other content creators on this chat, but there's a reason why we are content creators, and there's a reason why we don't have jobs making stories. I genuinely believe a criticism that goes around a lot in Star Wars is Star Wars brings a lot of people back. Asajj Ventress, Darth Maul, potentially Ben Solo. You know, are those things mistakes? Yes. But they can be good because you flesh out these characters. Darth Maul is one of the greatest fleshed out characters in all time because you bring him back. But even still, when you bring a character back, does death have any value in Star Wars? Does choice have any value in Star Wars? Mace Windu has to stay dead. As much as I don't want him to be dead, he has to stay dead. You know, and that's the problem with a lot of the mistakes in Star Wars. Is what we talk about a lot, guys, is that Star Wars is the most unique and important franchise in all of cinema because it cannot be recasted, it cannot be rebooted, it cannot be reshooted. It is a story going up and down, and that's it. It is one story, one continuity, you know. And you can't fuck this up any more than you already have because these are permanent. These choices are permanent. You can't retell A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. You can't retell Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith. And as much as you want to, you can't retell Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker. That's why it's so important that these movies gotta bang and stick and lightning in a bottle, because you can't just keep bringing characters back, you know. That's the biggest flaw with that pitch, you know. That's the only criticism I have. I do not critique people or anything like that or their views. They are their own entities, and it'll stay like that. I am just a creator at the end of the day, so you guys should take very little value in what I say at all, because I'm just a person. I disagree, but respect your opinion. I love you all both. Just want to make that clear. Yeah, no, I appreciate you, Leon. But you guys know that I have experience in writing, in production and making pitches. And I think that there's other ways to execute that idea. I don't think that is one of them. I feel like Mace is absolutely powerful enough to have survived. Yes, he is absolutely powerful enough to survive, but he didn't. He got fucking cooked. He got grilled, and then he fell, and then he died, if he was still alive. If you want to see Mace Windu still alive, I will urge you to see a fantastic story. That is the Star Wars Visions comic, which is the Ronin comic from Star Wars Visions Season 1 and Season 3, which is phenomenal. And you can see Mace Windu if he actually survived, because the Ronin actually faces and engages with Mace Windu. Check that out. That's a goddamn good story. That's a good pitch. Check that one out. If Star Wars had a What If series, it would be way better than Marvel's. If Star Wars had a What If series, it completely devalues the entire idea of the franchise. The whole point of Anakin Skywalker falling is that he makes stupid-ass decisions, and he's manipulated. And even still, when everything that's going on, he still has the power of choice. And if you make multiverses in Star Wars, I think it ruins the entire franchise. But I understand the appeal that everybody has, and I'm very excited that you guys are interested in that idea, and you guys should continue to be interested in the idea. But I just feel like it ruins the idea of what Star Wars is. If you like multiverses and stuff, that's what Marvel's for Spider-Man. That's not this franchise, and I don't ever want Star Wars to be that, you know. People have survived worse in more mind-baffling ways in Star Wars. Yes, people have survived way more, but the thing is that it's the movie, and you know, it's ultimately made by George Lucas. So why do we want to change that? You know, like with the Clone Wars animated series, George brings back Darth Maul for a reason, which is one of the reasons why we're getting Maul Shadow Lord, because apparently Maul has so much important value to the entire story that George was going to be creating a whole sequel trilogy with Darth Maul, you know, which is in the Star Wars archives. He never brought back Mace Windu. He had several years to bring back Mace Windu. He never did, you know, and so I just feel like that is the way it needs to be, you know. I feel like I don't know, you know, if George wanted to do that, he would have done it, you know. So why are we trying to do it, you know? Gage says, oh, by the way, welcome, Gage. Everybody welcome Gage with a ready up. I don't think doing What If is a multiverse thing. Just don't make it canon like Visions. But I think that's also the problem, right? Where like Visions is so unique that it does not touch main story ideas. It's unique stories all across the universe. Right? It has nothing to do with the movies. It is its own stories. It doesn't touch or interconnect with any of the stuff, you know, outside of F surviving Order 66. If you start making What If series and go in different tangents of the sequel trilogy or the prequel trilogy or you know, or whatever, or the original trilogy, you're making different storylines. You know, someone is going to come in and see that and bring that in eventually, whether it's going to be a comic, a director. I just feel like it's dangerous, and I feel like if we didn't like The Last Jedi as a collective, right, why are we going to like a light-sided Anakin Skywalker that never fell, that comes into a story later on and is now existing in the story here? You know, does that make any sense? Or bringing in Luke Skywalker and Mara Jade from Legends continuity and bringing them into the story here in the sequel trilogy. You know, I just, I don't know. To me, it feels like you're playing with fire. I feel like it's creating the atom bomb, and eventually someone is going to use it for the wrong thing. It may be non-canon at the start, but that doesn't mean it's going to be non-canon forever. I am genuinely in fear of that, especially if it makes money, because then they're going to make it canon. You know, that's just my fear. It could be terrible and idiotic, and that's fine if you guys judge me for that. But that's how I genuinely fear that. And I just feel like Mace Windu dying is so important to Anakin Skywalker's choice. Like, Anakin betrayed him. Anakin effed up. Anakin has the choice to stop everything right there, and he decides to chop Mace Windu's hand off. Like, it's, in my opinion, like the most heart-wrenching part of the prequel trilogy and Anakin Skywalker's story, you know? And then to find out that Mace Windu is not actually dead, you know? I don't know, man. I just feel like it's the same character assassination that we have in other things of this franchise. It's like, wow, you know, if you criticize here, Leon, I'm gonna answer your question with another question. If you criticize the Rise of Skywalker bringing Darth Sidious back, would you not criticize Star Wars for bringing Mace Windu back? I feel like it's the same thing. Well, this affects the prophecy, the chosen one. But it's the same thing. Mace Windu's still alive. So you're telling me the entire time Mace Windu just sat there and did nothing? You know? If we don't like Luke Skywalker sitting there and doing nothing and quitting, why would we want Mace Windu sitting there doing nothing and quitting? You know, because that's essentially what's going to happen, unless somehow he fights Vader and Palpatine again. You know, I feel like the story is not good enough to make up for everything else. You know, Logan, I know, right? I know, right? I love all the Skywalker solo lineage books. Kind of hope we get them in. Oh my God, Bane and Xana would be amazing. Yes, dude. Which is the better of the original trilogy or the prequels? I don't know. I think they're both amazing. I mean, you can't have anything without the originals, you know, as much as I love the prequels, you know. Maul's fan favorite. That's pretty cool. I think George realized how many people like Maul, and that's why he brought him back. Yes, I don't disagree. Which is so funny because I just rewatched Return of the Jedi, the Return of the Jedi commentary, and he's talking about bringing Boba Fett back to life and how he was thinking about making the scene where Boba Fett crawls out of the sand at the end of Return of the Jedi. This is in the Return of the Jedi commentary, and George Lucas is saying this because he was like, man, I totally regret like killing him off in this way because he became so popular. And then I was thinking about, you know, making a whole scene where Boba Fett crawls out of the sand, and then he was talking about how for him it just didn't stick. It didn't feel right. And I was like, oh my God, like we were so close to get it. And I love the first 2 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. I love the first 2 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett, and then I love the one with Mando. And now that George said that shit, and I listened to it, I think that's awesome. I think that's so cool. You know, Leon says, I think they should do what ifs. Going back to the people getting brought back too often is the issue. I think the only way for the Hunt of Solo to work is for it to take place in an alternate universe where Rey died instead of him. No, see, but that's not the story, man. I just like, I hear what you're saying, Leon. I hear what you're saying, man. But I'm so against the idea, dude. I just think that's sacrilegious in Star Wars, dude. Like, we have to live with these mistakes, you know? As much as we don't like these movies and these choices, we have to live with them, and we have to make sure that these stories in the future are better. Because if they're not, it's like Star Wars is like every goddamn franchise there is. You got recast, you got another Captain America, you're going to bring Captain America back because people don't like the new Captain America. You know, you're going to reset the timeline over here with Doctor Who because you brought it over to this broadcast and this, and then now Matt Smith is doing it. You don't like the Terminator, so we're just going to completely ignore those other movies. And that I don't know, man. I just think if you do what if, you're ruining the franchise. You are genuinely taking the value out of the franchise. I just think that's a comic book thing, a superhero thing, because there's so many stories and arcs and different universes and multiverses with comic books, and that is just very unattractive to me. I like the idea of one story, no matter how crap or how much I hate it. I just think there's more value in that one story, one timeline, than all the other franchises, which is why I like Star Wars, which is why I love Lord of the Rings. It makes more sense than somehow Ben Solo returned, though. But Ben Solo is not somehow returning. He's not. He's not just somehow returning. He's a goddamn Skywalker, and he's the last fucking Skywalker. He's also, because he's a Skywalker, he's part fucking Jesus. It's not somehow. It's not a Palpatine stuff. And that's why the script is so important to telling the story, because you're finally evolving part of the Force. The unifying Force, which is not something that we see a lot in live action Star Wars. And that's the whole point. He can be sent back. He can have his powers taken away. If he dies again, he doesn't exist. It's not somehow. You have world between worlds. Anakin Skywalker there, who's literally the most powerful entity in all of Star Wars continuity. He is a god. He is beyond a god. If he has potential as a Force user in his life, then he's probably fucking insane as a redeemed Jedi, and he passes on. There's no limits to his power. He already brought back Ahsoka. What the fuck is he supposed to do about someone that has his bloodline? That's what I'm saying. It's not somehow he returns. It's so much more than that. If Adam Driver and Dave Filoni and even Kathleen Kennedy thought this goddamn script was that effing good, I'm telling you with my experience, which I'm literally not allowed to talk about until the credits come out, that I'm telling you this shit was really good. And they actually thought it through. It's not Rise of Skywalker J.J. Abrams stuff. It's bigger than that. It's actually thought out, You got to keep the same energy if you feel the same way about the Rise of Skywalker, though. I don't like the Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, you know how much I criticize The Last Jedi. In my opinion, at least The Last Jedi is a better movie than The Rise of Skywalker. I feel like I've talked about this. Have I not? Gage says there's some limits to what Anakin can do when he helps Luke in the shadows of the Sith. He says something along the lines of, "I've already done too much here. I got to go." Yes, Gage. Yes, and that is because he's not a Sith anymore. And also, I believe, is they're trying to bolster the idea of Exegol. Because what's also interesting too, Gage, is we do not know what else is happening and what else is Anakin's doing. I truly believe that there is so much that you could do with that character. And because of how powerful he is, he's going to have rules that he can't ultimately do this. And because I feel like a Force Ghost should. He can't just fight all the battles for Luke. He's only there to keep him alive and to stop Sidious from draining him and killing him. I think that's the whole point. Because you also do not want the idea of Anakin Skywalker saving everybody all the time. That's another point of choice. That's another point of value in people dying. There has to be emotional weight. There needs to be risk, and that's what I think is also important, which is why I think Adam Christopher does such a great job with Shadow of the Sith. And you have not read that book, TikTok. You got to go read that book. Go read that book. The problem with the fans are never satisfied with anything that happens. Yeah, I know, but that's just humans in general, man. But over time, people will slowly stop listening to people like me on the internet, and they will develop their own thoughts and processes. It's just hopefully that they're not conditioned enough to be so much of assholes. By the way, TikTok, thank you so much for being here, guys. I'm going to go over to YouTube, so please go ahead and subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. You guys are cool. You guys are really chill today, actually, so thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Yeah, man. TikTok was actually cool. They did not jump me like last week. So that's pretty cool. Also, Leon, I'm also not like yelling at you. I actually really appreciate that you're always here. Gage says we really need to... we really need more Exegol content. I assume Ahsoka Season 2 will elaborate more on Anakin with more stuff. I hope so. I'm very curious. I just hope, I think the high for Ahsoka, if it's good, is insane. Like, the potential for Ahsoka is insane. But that's also why I don't think it'll ever completely, fill that out for me, But I don't know. I have more faith than everybody else does, and that's usually my problem, is I have more trust and faith in things that other people don't. Skywalker Academy says, the hunt for Ben Solo can be his journey redemption through the entire spiritual journey. I hope we can get more Exegol lore and information because it is really fascinating place, plus looks dope. Yeah, man. I don't disagree. I think there's a lot of potential for it, and I could have sworn I had, like, I gave you guys my pitch and told you guys what I thought about, but I think there's so much that you can do, and I genuinely believe a lot of the stuff that you guys are exposed to online is, how can I say, it's misdirection, and it's not truly honest about what can happen with these characters. I actually feel like when you guys show me a lot of these pitches and ideas, I genuinely think they're fan fiction. Like, I genuinely think that this is a fan, you know, and I'm a fan too. You know, I know that even with how good of an idea that I can create, it's not what it can be if I was a writer or a real director. You know, and I've told you guys a lot about my experience, which you guys don't know about. You know, one day I can probably talk about it, but I shouldn't even be talking about it like this. But I still think even with my experience, you know, I'm still flawed and I still have a lot to learn. And I've seen projects be shelved that were amazing, that were incredible. Some of the best stories I've ever seen, you know, and that's why when I see a lot of this stuff, I'm just like, you guys really don't know, like, what the ceiling is and what it could be, you know. And it's not to say like anything else is like trash or terrible, but there's a difference between like a whole entire team pitching this together, you know, and, you know, someone having a theory and stuff. But that's the whole point about being a fan, is its passion. And I think that's why so many people get really excited when they hear about, you know, a Star Wars theory, you know, making a movie, or the other guy that, you know, reshot the A New Hope scenes, you know, with Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi. People, or even the stupid ass AI shit that I don't like, you know. It's just people get so excited because they want more. They want good stories. They see the potential of this franchise a lot of times more than the people that fucking bought the franchise. And you guys are right. You guys are right all the time. But like, we don't want to sell ourselves to the first piece of fucking cheesecake that we see, you know, in the grocery store. There's better things out there, especially if we have the right people, you know, hire the right people, have the right producers. Producers are extremely important, man. That's why Kathleen Kennedy was very important. She's not a writer. She's not a director. Producers go out and they're talent scouts and they find people to bring together. You know, they can't do it all. And it's a very interesting time to be a Star Wars fan. And I hope that these stories hit, man, because if they don't, good luck with any other project that comes out after Starfighter. You know, we'll see. After thinking about it some more, episode should have been a two-parter. Yes, absolutely. 100% agree. Yes, absolutely. Yes. I've been lurking. Thank you so much, B-Red. I appreciate you, dude. Skywalker Academy says, cool ideas don't always mean they can work. You know what's crazy is Doug Chang said something, I think it was like back in 2017, and he said something that I thought was so smart. And he was like, a lot of times where I think I have this really good idea and I think it's amazing, he's like, and then I start working on it, and then I start to realize it's a bad idea. And it's a bad idea because I can't make it work. That's why I always feel like the idea of Mace Windu coming back alive, bad idea. You can't make it work. Because again, even if you write this character out and Palpatine is the one that kills him, or Vader is the one that kills him, there's no connection to that in the original films, which is why I feel like Kenobi was not a great idea, you know? And now you're telling me that Vader loses twice to Kenobi? Twice? You know, it's not that Kenobi is weak, but I can't unsee that when I watch A New Hope now. You know, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, guys. You know, same thing with Rise of Skywalker, same thing, whatever. It's like, there are things that are permanent now, and you can't unchange that. And that goes with every choice in life and every choice in story. You know, that's the whole point of value. We can't erase it, man. We can't hit Control-Alt-Delete, you know. Leon says, it would have been broken trilogy tradition, but in the grand scheme of things, it would have been so much no, it's not. But see, Leon, you're onto something with that, is because I genuinely believe that one of the things that shackles Star Wars stories is trilogies. Why does it need to be a trilogy? Why can't it just be stories? You know, it can be one movie, or 6 or 5 or 4, you know, or 9, you know, like, tell the story as long as you need to tell the story for, you know, like, if the movie, if this is a story that you have and 3 is just too short, because I genuinely believe 3 is just not long enough these days, you know, I just think it's so condensed, you know. When I watch Andor is 2 seasons, but guess what? Andor was condensed. It was supposed to be 6 or 5 when they were originally started shooting, you know? But Diego Luna was getting older, and they realized they couldn't do it, and then they realized how much money they were putting into this, and they couldn't do that, you know? Look how good Andor is, even with that. Imagine if they actually fleshed it out as much as they wanted to, and then produced Rogue One, and then released Rogue One. That's a pretty damn good sequence of movies and seasons, you know? Rise of Skywalker should have been 2 to 3 movies at the very least. Why? Because this is the culmination of 9 episodes of Star Wars. 40 years of a franchise that you're putting into one single movie and declaring it the finale. You know, that was the mistake. That was the mistake. Gage says, also the idea that Kenobi accepted Vader was gone but still spares him and pushes it onto Luke. Yes, that is another thing, Gage. I also agree with that. But I also, as much as I don't like the idea of Vader losing twice, you know, I think that Kenobi in the original trilogy is a man of mistakes. You know, he's very conniving. And I think you can even say that he's manipulative because of the way that he allows this lie of Darth Vader to be this thing for Luke. You know, like, if I'm Luke Skywalker and I find out that they've been training me to kill my own father, how am I supposed to trust anybody after that? You know? And then, you know, Luke handles it so well, you know, in Return of the Jedi on Dagobah. And you know, well, you know, from what I told you was a certain point of view. A certain point of view, I've been asking for years about my father, and nobody fucking talks about this guy. And you're the person that knows him the most, and you don't even tell me. In fact, you want me to kill this guy. I mean, yeah, he's an asshole, but Jesus, you know, that in combination with Kenobi, you know. That's what's hard. But I like parts of Kenobi, especially the finale, especially the quotes. You know, I am what you made me. You know, you didn't kill Anakin Skywalker, I did. You know, I cannot lie. Those are bars, dude. I think about that shit all the time. You know, and I wouldn't want that show deleted because I like that shit that much. But it's still, when I think about it, I was just like, you couldn't have even, like. I would have, what I really feel like they should have done is it should have been a draw. It should have been, honestly, you're going to hate me for saying this, it should have been another Force Awakens where the planet or the structure they are on is ripping apart and it mirrors Mustafar and the Force Awakens Starkiller base with Kylo Ren and Rey, Obi-Wan and Anakin, and then Vader and Kenobi. You know, so I just think that would have gone really well with the symmetry, and the planet is literally being destroyed, and then Kenobi has to flee and then Vader is like standing on the planet watching him go away. You know, I think that is a better ending. Like, Kenobi got away, he didn't beat Vader, and Vader is sitting there watching this guy that he wants to kill go away again. You know, I think that is better than a loss. And Kenobi walking away from Darth Vader, who is literally left in pieces again. You know, I would have absolutely voiced my concerns with the effects that final script had. But again, that's probably why I didn't get rehired. Gage says, yeah, George had an interview in the 80s about how Kenobi and Yoda are using Luke as a tool to fix their mistakes, and what if Luke had followed that path and would have been unforgivable? Yes, exactly. You know, they should have just had Obi-Wan sense that Luke was in danger from Reva. And yet that could have worked with the ending I just told you. You know? And then it's great because Obi-Wan, you can still have the same ending with Reva, which I think is also a very underappreciated arc, is her story at the end. And then Kenobi's there, and he does what he's supposed to do with Anakin with Reva. Fuck, man. God damn it. Fuck. But that's why I love Star Wars, you know? So I love Star Wars. I love the theory crafting. I love the talking with everybody. Oh, man, that's a goddamn good show, dude. Anyways, how about that Jarek? Yeah, dude. Oh, man. The Valley of the Jedi. Making it even better with Obi-Wan has the ground, and exact same as Mustafar, but the ground splits and Vader can't make it. I just like the idea of, even with all the power that Vader has, he's still not in control. I think that's very good for Vader. I think that's very good for Anakin, because it puts him back into being Anakin, because that was the whole point with Anakin, is he couldn't control the surroundings around him. He couldn't control his fear. He couldn't control his anxiety. He couldn't control the visions in his head about Padme dying. Even with all the power that he had, his mother dies. You know, like I just think that is a better story to tell and have it end that way than the way it ended, you know? Logan says Ben Quadraneros versus Caesar, who has the most Riz. It's Ben Quadraneros all day. Ben Quadraneros, who literally was a guy that barely survived and then didn't finish a race, and then all of a sudden became like the greatest rivalry of Sebulba in the history of pod racing. Oh, ooh, damn, man. Yeah, dude. The Ben Quadraneros comic is slander. I haven't read it. Is it crazy? Is there a new canon Ben Quadraneros? You know, dude, I really hope Ben Quadraneros is in the new Racer game, because they have Sebulba. If they do not have Ben Quadraneros as an... Dude, what if you can unlock Ben Quadraneros at the end of the game like you could in the Pod Racer game? That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy, dude. What is the internet obsession with Ben Quadraneros? Dude, Ben Quadraneros is a god, dude. He's so good. Seriously, man. Like, he is Sebulba's top rival, man. It's crazy. Which I think is so funny, because Anakin Skywalker is the only winner of that pod race, and he's like the only human to ever finish that and win. And then Sebulba just has a rivalry with Ben Quadraneros. Well, that one kid turned into a Jedi and left. So you know what? I'm going to pick on you now. You're my rival. Which I think is so funny. And apparently Ben Quadraneros is beating Sebulba consistently, you know? Like, it's like Sebulba was the best. And then all of a sudden it's like Sebulba, Quadraneros. Like, they're sharing these titles. Damn. That's pretty cool. We need a series about that. NA Legends Ben Quadranero's comic, it says he wasn't even supposed to race. He was a junior. Yes. Yes, he wasn't supposed to race. He was just looking for a job. And then he ended up doing it because he heard that he can make money. I think he barely... his friend puts a bet that he's not going to finish, who's also racing, and then he beats that guy. And then he thinks that he can do it as a career. And then he becomes one of the best. But the next race he does, he that's the one that he doesn't finish. He doesn't finish. Because that's the Punta's Eve. Oh my gosh, man. Star Wars Ben Quadraneros. Dude, I think that'd be great. If you have Sebulba in that new game, you have to have Ben Quadraneros. You have to, dude. He has to. If he's not DLC, I'm going to be so upset. All right, guys, it's 9:13. I think we had a good stream. How you guys feeling today? Genuinely. Give me your honest thoughts today. How are you feeling about the stream? Is Lord Dagovere losing it? Is he unk? Did he fall off? Are we studying how much he fell off? What's going on? Any other questions today? I really appreciate you guys having enough patience to deal with my views. I really love your guys' ideas, no matter how much I think that whatever someone said on the internet is crazy. But thank you guys, man. I'm gonna take a look real quick to see. Let me see. 1 second. Damn, guys, we are at. We're literally like 100 away. We're literally 100 away, guys, from the big 10K. That's crazy, bro. We're so close, dude. It's a crazy feeling, you know. Leon says, "I would write Ben Solo as the culmination of all the Skywalkers, as well as being a Solo. Of course, he overthrew his master and saved the one he loved. He could have hoped. Yes, exactly. He gave his life. He gave his life, which is what Anakin didn't do. You know, I think that's a huge step. Like that's the reason why Ben Solo needs to return is because he needs to finish. I told you guys this. He needs to finish what Anakin started, and that is a redemption, and that is atonement. I'm gonna hit this goddamn desk again, but that is the whole point. We have to stop killing off characters for no goddamn reason. We must write atonement. We must write redemption. It is the whole point of Star Wars, is the choice. The choice matters the most, is what has value. That's why you can't have a what if series. That's why you can't have an alternate universe. It's the whole fucking point of these characters living one life and fucking up and redeeming themselves. Ben Solo can do what Anakin Skywalker never did. That's the whole point. He can be the true depiction of what a redemption and atonement means in the Star Wars universe. Exactly what Eula Keldroma did. And I'm going to give you guys homework. You better read Tales of the Jedi, and you better read about Eula Keldroma and his story and see what happens, because he's got one of the greatest stories in Star Wars. No fucking TikTok slop is ever going to tell you, because they don't love the franchise as much. I'm telling you, man. That's what it's about, dude. Damn it, dude. I love this franchise. Love the passion. It gives you strength. Yeah, I'm a Sith boy, though. I am, you know, and I wish sometimes I wish I wasn't like this, but I can't stop being me, even if I want to, you know. So that's what it is. Some people think, you know, I got a really amazing compliment the other day from Leon, saying that I remind him about parts of Etika. If you guys don't know, Etika was a huge content creator who I was also friends with. I took pictures of him when I was talking about, you know, the last week about how, you know, Leon was talking about how he wasn't excited and he wasn't sure if he was going to see it in theaters. One of the people that I was talking about was Etika, that I took pictures with. I can't take photos of Etika and talk with him, you know, ever again, you know. So it was like one of those things where it's just like, you know, like I don't think a lot of people really understand how easy it is to disappear in life, you know. or just a lot of stuff is taken for granted. So I think about it a lot. In fact, there isn't a day that I don't think about it, you know, especially when I react. Especially because that is straight passion. And I think it's absolutely absurd that I wind up on these Star Wars content creators, you know, streams to call me a fucking shill. Imagine if they called Etika a shill. You know? Well, I think that's crazy. You know, to assume that someone is getting that excited and hyped because they're getting paid. You know, when genuinely, like, some people are like that fucking hype. You guys see me. I get hyped about stupid shit all the time. Whether it's Kylo Ren or Darth Vader or some random shit that Logan brings up, you know. When we met around 2014 in Vegas. That's when we met in person. But we were always talking via chat and everything. I was doing a lot of stuff around the atmosphere that he was in. So we were kind of like mutuals. But when we met in person, you know, I don't even think I ever told you. Did I ever tell you guys the story about Etika? Or when we met? Did I ever tell you guys that? So, all right, so here's the deal. Okay, so before, I'll tell you this story, and this is only for you guys that are here, okay? So, I didn't have a lot of friends. I was always seen as a weird outcast person, but I always had passion, and I was always stupid excited about shit, but I did not have friends. Like, when I went to go sit down at school, I sat down by myself and one other friend. His name is Vladimir, okay? Vladimir was my boy. Vladimir was my brother. He taught me how to express myself and be happy about things, which is funny because we met because he was making fun of me because I was talking about Dragon Ball Z. And Vladimir was talking to me about Dragon Ball Z, and he was making fun of me because I was getting too excited about Dragon Ball Z. And then from that day on, I wanted to beat his ass. And then we became best friends. So we were always talking shit about stuff, and we were also seen as like outcasts, all right? And Vladimir always would express himself in very silly, funny ways. Very Etika ways, okay? And I slowly started to see how Vladimir became this like unique person, and you know, he got me into anime, he got me into things. So I ultimately was around him so much that our personalities were pretty similar. A lot of the ways I talk, a lot of my mannerisms, stuff like that. Vladimir went off to do his thing. We graduated high school, we lived together for a bit, and then he ended up going his way, I ended up going my way, but we were still like brothers. In that time, I went off to do some career stuff. Had some crazy, stupid-ass decisions. And that's where I ultimately started to meet people like Etika, right? And I was seen as the person that got excited for things, but was weird, you know, and may not be fun to be around, you know, because, you know, people use that word cringe. That was me, you know, arguably still am, right? But if you said cringe, you probably were talking about me. And then I ended up seeing this guy, Etika, and he reacted to a couple game trailers. So I was in his community. I was in the chat, yada, yada. Every once in a while, I was on Twitter, and that's where we interacted the most. And then eventually, we went to EVO, which was a fighting game tournament to watch. And I asked him, hey, I know that you're here. Where are you at, dude? And this guy meets me in the main ballroom, the main venue. This is like, so where these conventions are, is there's a whole bunch of things happening, and then there's the giant venue room where like everything is happening. The main stuff is happening. Etika is like peak ass popularity right now. And he finds me out of the thousands of people in this fucking room, and he starts talking to me. Hey, what's up, Dagovere? How you doing? Yada yada. you know, so good to talk, and we're just shooting the shit. But he's in peak popularity, so the whole freaking venue is flooding around him. Everybody's taking pictures, everybody's stuff. All these other content creators are talking to him, and it's like half an hour, and everybody's dragging him away. Everybody's dragging Etika away, and then he comes back and pushes all these people away and says, "Sorry, bro, I know we were talking," and then starts talking to me for another fucking 2 hours. And then we take a picture, which I don't have anymore. Of course, I don't. And that was insane. That's when I realized Etika was real as shit, you know? Like, that's when I realized, like, he was my friend, you know? And I think friend is kind of, like, going a little far, too, because we barely got to talk because everything that was going on in our lives, you know? And Etika, of course, was on a freaking rocket in terms of popularity. But I don't think you will ever find a person who is in peak popularity who will literally sit there and talk to you for 2 fucking hours about Mewtwo, about Smash Brothers, about Street Fighter, about Star Wars. Yes. All that shit for 2 hours in anime and whatever shit that he was gooning on because he freaking loved Daisy from Mario or whatever, and all this shit that he was telling me about. Akai Riot, one of the artists that he loved that would make him stuff. Yeah, I remember that conversation a lot, and that was crazy. That he was so unselfish and did that, and then he would come into my stream, you know, and then he would talk with me, and then he would message me on Twitter. Like, he was genuinely good. And then stuff happened in my life where I wasn't able to keep up with people, and then my best friend was dead, and then a year later, so was Etika, you know. Yeah, dude. I think that you should value life a little bit more. I think that you should value things that come out even when it's shitty. And I talked about this on my TikTok too, where I was talking about how, like, you know, no matter what happens, I'm still going to go to the movies and watch a Star Wars movie, even if it's not the way I want it to be, because I like to build my life around the experience. I like to control the things that I like to control. I can't control Etika dying and throwing himself off a bridge. I can't control my best friend ODing. You know, I can't control all these things, right? I can control my experience, the movie I want to watch, the popcorn box that I want to buy. I can record, I can exchange, and I can control all these experiences. And so if all those experiences are really good and enjoyable, then the movie becomes better. You know? It's a bonus if it's really good. Or it's a great thing if that video game is good. I don't need to allow these things to control my mentality. I can only control the things that I have. And that's why I think it's really important for me to really control my emotions. You know, be excited about stupid shit that people record and get my stuff taken on the internet and think I'm a fucking shill, you know? Because I know that tomorrow I won't wake up, you know? And so at the very least, at least someone will see my stuff on a YouTube channel. Oh my God, this guy got so hyped for seeing Luke Skywalker Mandalorian Season 2. Oh my God, this guy got so hyped for seeing Anakin Skywalker save Ahsoka in the World Between Worlds in Ahsoka Season 1. Wow, dude, that's cool. You know? Somebody appreciated that, because as you know, as little as they were in my life, both Vladimir and Etika helped me understand it's okay to be that way. You know? Do I have a full-time job other than YouTube? Oh my goodness gracious. Yes, I have a full-time job. Thank you so much, Quincy. I do not take YouTube as a job. I just talk about Star Wars. That's it, dude. Yeah, I'm gonna see the Mandalorian movie. This conversation did. Yeah, I'm gonna ignore the reviews. Yeah, dude, just go enjoy it, dude, because you know, what did Etika always say? What did Etika always say? No bitch You know, no bitch in this chat. No bitch blank in this chat, you know? You just got to go out there and say F it, you know? At least you experienced it. At least you did it. I'm sure you can find so many of Etika's wise words, you know? That's how it is, dude. But I appreciate you, Leon. I appreciate you asking this stuff, you know? B-Red says, I saw Force Awakens 9 times in theaters, man. I don't love the sequels, but dang, I love that movie. There's so much I want to tell you guys, but I don't, you know? But I will say, even in the darkest times of my life, I had that movie, and I carried it around with me, as well as the whole trilogy of movies, all of them, and then the Force Awakens. So I had this whole collector's edition that I had, which was the 6 movies, and then Force Awakens had come out, you know. And even when things were going terrible in my life, I still found whatever money I could find on the streets, and then saw Rogue One, you know. That's how much this franchise means to me, you know? So I think it's just important to experience it with your friends, experience it with your loved ones, because I think that's what the franchise means, you know? Star Wars is ultimately about family. And sometimes family isn't even the people that are blood relatives with you, you know? That's how I saw someone like, you know, that's how I saw obviously my best friend, and even with the little time that I knew Etika, you know. So even someone like Leon in the chat, or Jedi Connor, you know, Daddy Sheev, my boys, you know, all you guys, Bugsy, Grand Animal Gruner in the chat probably. So yeah, you know, I don't think I could ever be as cool or as popular as someone like Etika. But the genuinism is always going to be there, and the passion is there that you guys see, you know. So that's what I always strive to be. So if I can mix the passion and the funness with facts, legitimate facts, not some bullshit that you guys read on the internet, that's what this channel's about, baby. Let's go. Yo, can I get already up in the chat? Let's go. Let's go.
Mando!
They all hate you, Mando.
Hate you, Mando.
Yeah, baby. I love it, dude. Ready up. Yo, can I get, for the last time today, ready up. All right, guys. That's gonna be it for today. We're gonna close out here because, you know, as always, man, we got the shorts coming out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, and then the streams at Tuesday at 8 p.m. And then we also got the Starlight podcast coming out every single week. Please, guys, tell your friends. We are only 100 away from 10K subscribers, man. And if you don't know, now you know, because your boy is coming in from the Dark Temple, visited by Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker, and Kyle Katarn, and so many of the Force sensitives like yourselves. I am Lord Dagovere. And thank you so much, Leon, and everybody else inside this chat, baby. I'll see you around. Deuces.